Hello, welcome back to Madrona's Pulse Teachings. I'm Iris J, and I'm going to chat with you a little bit more about this Libra solar eclipse that we are having. So I uploaded a video that's really looking at the aspects of this new moon, which is the solar eclipse. That is linked below if you want to listen to that. In this video, I want to talk a little bit more about a general narrative about what could be coming up at this particular moment, because it's a bit of a big moment. And this absolutely has to do with the combination of weaving our solar eclipse and the fact that Pluto is finishing its retrograde in Capricorn at that final degree. So Pluto's going to station direct on October 11th. That is happening at around 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. So just about 9 days after our eclipse, Pluto stations direct, and then we will have our full moon on the 17th, and Pluto will of course be direct then, and that Pluto will be squaring the full moon. Okay, so we are in process, and this is a very potent time of karmic endings. We have an eclipse, which occurs when we have the new moon and the full moon near the nodes of the moon, and that sun is conjunct the south node leading up to the eclipse on the 2nd. So actually it depends when you're watching this video, but around Sunday, depending when you watch it. But this whole period leading up to the eclipse has the sun and Mercury conjuncting the south node, which is a very karmic moment. And we have Pluto, our archetype of the soul, and also individual and collective karma, finishing a major turning point in its path. Okay, and so Pluto is going to enter into Aquarius in November. Okay, November 19th. So we are at a major turning point. And of course, this is collective, and it's also very personal. And so if you are someone that works with your chart, when we're really coming into an astrology practice where we're weaving and interpreting, and that's why astrology for myself and certain traditions of astrologers is really an art form, because it is about how the art of interpretation and the art of weaving the narratives that the chart is speaking. And it's also a dialogue process, and why we really benefit from co-creating in relationships with the archetypes, because the archetypes are always alive. We cannot forget that. And we're always in this kind of co-creative symphony or dance with the cosmos. And a karmic moment like we're having now, which is, an eclipse is always kind of in evolutionary astrology a moment when there could be karmic closings and openings. And we're talking about a major stage of Pluto's journey, which is absolutely karmic. And so if you're someone that works with your chart, you absolutely want to see what is going on around 10 degrees of Libra, and also of course 10 degrees of Aries, because that's where the north node is. We are releasing so that we can move and embody in a new way wherever 10 degrees of Aries is, but of course the node is at 6 degrees, so that window there. And also the 29th degree of Capricorn, where is that? Because there's overlapping closings and beginnings, and they are absolutely resonating in this moment. And so especially if you have personal placements, you could be feeling a lot right now. You could be going through a lot. There could be major closings. There could be major openings. There could be new beginnings. It could be all of the above. You might not really know what's up, what's down, what's in, what's out. You might be all turned inside out right now. If you are, it's totally normal. So just take a breath and sit back, because you're doing okay. Even if it doesn't feel like that. I keep saying in my daily posts that there's a bigger story unfolding, and we are part of it. And so as we move through this eclipse and through what's following and into that full moon, we need to be aware of these very big energies. Okay. And so, you know, it's easy to say, oh, this is going on, it's eclipse season, but it's not just eclipse season. It's the season of Pluto finishing its final retrograde in Capricorn. And that is just over a week after the eclipse. So we are beginning to feel that major shift. And then we're going to have that full moon in October, the Aries full moon. And that Pluto is going to be square the full moon, and it's going to be opposite Mars. But there's going to be forward movement, and it's also an Aries full moon, right? So there is more of kind of forward movement that we're moving toward, and that's still working out of these big karmic moments and with these big karmic moments. Okay, so if you know that you are finishing out a stage of your life, whether that is a stage linked to Pluto from 2008, around-ish 2008, or it feels more like a 6-month cycle, or it links all the way back to other periods in time when we were having eclipses. For instance, this one that we're about to have could be linking you back to 2005, 2006. So there's all these cycles, and if you're someone that likes to do the math and have your know where it is and where it ends and begins, and that's what you're doing, or we're just recognizing that we're in a shift, because the truth is that most likely it's not just one. Most likely, you know, and this is why astrology is so helpful and why it offers alternative narratives to something like traditional Western psychiatry or psychology, because there is not one linear trajectory. There are overlapping interdimensional time cycles that we embody, that we are able to breathe with, that we are able to move creatively with, that we are able to feel stuck with. And we're in a moment when those overlapping interdimensional cycles are talking with one another through what's going on in our life right now. And so just taking a moment and feeling into it. Taking a moment and not having to understand where it's coming from or where it's going, but actually just thanking yourself for being here and doing all the hard work that you're doing, because I know it's hard work, and just taking that moment and acknowledging that you're in process and something is shifting. And if you do know that something is closing out, whether it's a chapter of your life or it's a chapter related to a relationship, or a relationship is even going deeper, which means that dynamics are going to shift, or you are letting something go, however that is playing in your life, it's really important to acknowledge it. It's really important to, as I talk about acknowledgement, there's all these kids walking by and they are hooting and hollering, and I don't know if you can hear them, but maybe that's just a sign of acknowledgement. Maybe there's something even to be celebrated. Maybe that's how we'll read that sign. And it's okay to celebrate it, even if there's a bit of grief, right? Because a new cycle is beginning. And this could be seeding for something very big. This could be the beginning of a very big ending. We're all going to be in these interdimensional cycles a little bit differently. But you could be feeling mixed emotions. You could be feeling a bit of grief and a bit of excitement. You could be feeling just excitement. You could be feeling really more of the grief. And just taking the moments to acknowledge what's going on, taking the moments and pausing and being with what's present. And my experience is 90% of the work, right? And we can keep moving, or we can keep making our lists, or we can keep looking at our chart and trying to figure it out, and just letting go of that mental exercise a little bit and just being with and acknowledging what's closing. And it is a lovely time. Any karmic moment is a lovely time to bring ritual around that. Whether that is writing a letter with a candle, reading it out loud, and then blowing the candle out and doing something that represents love with your letter. Love can also be burning or ripping up your letter. It can also be burying it. Love is not limited to one little dimensional appearance like mainstream Hollywood would teach us. It is multidimensional, and it can hold all of the emotions, which is why love is so powerful. Okay. And ritualizing the karmic shift that's going on for you could be really important. It is a Libra solar eclipse. If there's someone in your life that you feel safe with, that you don't have to perform with, that you can just be with, it could be a lovely time as we move up to and move through the eclipse to kind of share your offering with them. Sharing our vulnerable, intimate karmic scapes is an offering of a gift. And so if you have someone that receives that, it can be wonderful. But you also can do this with yourself. You can do it with nature. You can do it with a trusted animal companion, whatever feels right to you. Okay, eclipses are really important times to also work with intuition and also just taking care of the self during this time. Whenever there's a lot of charged karmic energy, of course, it depends upon how our narrative of our life is playing out. If it's really exciting, then maybe we need to make sure that we're taking rest and not getting too carried away. If we're moving with more grief, then we really need to take care and kind of dote on the body and the mind a little bit and recognize that this is a powerful time. Okay. And set intentions for what you want to welcome in, because most likely something is closing out. And again, that Pluto is going to be in Aquarius in mid-November. So we're moving forward with that Pluto then. And that, I mean, we'll be talking a lot about that in November, which is not that far away. I don't know how this has happened. Like, we just went through equinox. I'm in the Northern Hemisphere. We're in fall. We're here. It's happening. Taking a moment, acknowledging that it's happening, right? And so just really allowing the shifts, honoring, sitting in ceremony with what is closing out. And again, that can be you on your bed with a tea and your pillows or your stuffies or whatever you've got, and just feeling into it, and also allowing there to be hopefulness around what's coming, allowing there to be intentions for new chapters. And maybe you really know where that's heading, and you write a letter to yourself, either telling a former version of yourself all the wonderful things that you know are going to happen, even if they're totally imagined right now, because we cannot co-create unless we're encouraging our imagination to see it all. So you can write a letter to a former version of yourself, telling her, him, or them about all the amazing things that are going to happen. You can give yourself permission to come into that place of hope. You can write a letter to your future self, whatever you want to share with that future self. But we are in a potent time to do this type of ritual work. I'm going to post some suggestions in the Patreon realm. If you live with me there, I will come up with a nice worksheet there. But just feeling into your intuition about how you want to acknowledge something closing and something opening, because it's happening, right? And when we open up in the evolutionary astrology lens, we look at how this is also part of our soul path that we came here for. You know, we are living in this moment as Pluto's moving into Aquarius. We're living in this moment as Neptune and Saturn in 2025 and 2026 are going to move into Aries. We're living in this moment, in this embodied situation, in this realm of various ecosystems, as these things are happening, as these moments are happening. And from an evolutionary astrology perspective, our soul that was an intention of this life, right? And so just being present with what's shifting for you. And if it is a difficult time, really taking care and nourishing the self. Mars is in Cancer. That Mars in Cancer is active during the eclipse, and it's active during the full moon that's coming. It's going to have a retrograde journey. We are learning a lot about Mars in Cancer, and that is reprogramming us about active self-care and active love and rest in a way that reprograms the self, that reprograms the drive of the self. This is about a lifestyle of self-care. It's not about a one-off act of self-care. Those can be very important, but the Mars in Cancer journey is about reprogramming our active drive to care about caring for the self. So that energy is present as well. So if you find yourself going through a lot, making sure that you're prioritizing your self-care is extremely important. Because if we're burned out, we can't help those that we care about all that well. Okay. Okay, so there is some weaving, some thoughts, some feelings around this very potent time. As always, I am sending out the love, and I hope that you journey well, and I will see you soon. Be well.